the stats. Stats again. Checking the stats. Checking the stats. Checking the stats. Okay. There we go. YouTube is up, and so is Twitch. Good. Okay.
What?
I know that sucks. It happens. Okay. We're going to have that up just in case. So I can now see everybody's comments. I can see everybody's questions. Hey, Doctor, what's up, buddy?
No, if only you could do that for freaking TikTok.
I can kind of for TikTok, but not really.
Not on one, though. Sucks.
So, Doc, just so you know, today is this is going to be a Q&A session. It's not a tarot reading right now. We will be doing tarot readings later tonight, possibly. But there is no tarot reading right now. This is just Q&A. Fire-loaded tots? Oh my god, that sounds a freaking amazing. What is a fire-loaded tot, bro? I gotta know. What is a fire-loaded tot? Sounds amazing. Sounds like jalapeno, cheese, tater tots? When you're ready to go live on TikTok, when you're ready on TikTok, let me know.
Yep, give me 1 second. And you are live. Yeah.
Okay, give me a second to set that up. Make sure it says it's Q&A today.
I did.
Okay, and it's, what you call it, Ask a Druid or whatever.
Did.
Perfect. Alright. Cool. That's that. Alright. Simply, we're not doing tarot card questions. We're doing a Q&A today. Right now, it's basically ask me anything about Druidism or about tarot. 100%. Basically, I'm basically going to be talking to you guys today about what it is tarot does. I'll also talk about moon water, things like that. So basically, this is your Q&A day for you guys who ask questions about things you've always wondered about when it comes to, the craft of this stuff. Let's be honest, I mean, a lot of people think tarot is one thing or they think it's another. And I just kind of wanted to clear the water today and kind of give you guys a chance to really ask questions. We are going to be doing regular tarot tonight. Hello. Hi, guys. But for right now, we're going to be doing basically just the Q&A, let you guys ask questions, I answer, things like that. So, loaded tots with sriracha garlic sauce. Oh my god. Jalapenos, chili powder, bacon, smoked cheese. Oh my god, brother. Wow, doctor, that's amazing. Okay, so to cleanse yourself of toxic people. Now that's an interesting one because cleansing yourself of toxic people, I'm going to show you a little trick. Okay? This is silver. Okay? It is silver wire, okay? This is a very, very small amount of silver. It's not a lot. It's just enough that it's able to be enchanted or be able to be enchanted or blessed, so to speak, okay? And what I sometimes do is I do stuff like this, where I will basically make it into like almost a dream catcher. And if you look in this pattern, you'll actually see a star in there, which is a pentagram star that's actually made out of the silver. Then what I actually do with this is I take this and I do it in sage, dragon's blood, and a few other choice herbs like frankincense, a little bit here and there. But anyways, what you do is then afterwards you basically take the dust after it's burned, or the ashes, and you smudge it on this, and then you attach this to a necklace or you attach this to a keychain. What this ends up doing is it helps repel negativity or toxic people. Normally, when somebody's toxic, they're normally toxic because they themselves are plagued by something negative. And this basically helps to kind of push that negativity away, and it helps them to kind of clean themselves up, or they kind of just steer clear of you. We are literally doing a live right now that's just a Q&A. Yep, the regular is going to be at 7 tonight. We're just doing a Q&A one right now. This was basically, hey, you know, people have had a lot of questions. A lot of questions about tarot readings. They've been having a lot of questions about what, why I use the crystals I use. Things like that. I mean, and that's what this is all about. This is literally, you know, answer as I can. Simply Telly, what was your question?
She keeps asking her question in the queue, and I told her to wait till 7, and she's not listening.
Is it possible that if I ask a question about someone's feelings that tarot may pick up on their feelings for someone else? Okay. So, when you ask a deck a question, it becomes a very, very important thing of you need to ask the question properly. So, there becomes a layer to this, okay? So you gotta remember, you're the questioner, then you have the actual person that's touching the cards, and then you have a third layer to it, which is the actual cards themselves. So if there's a miscommunication between you and the card holder, the question asked to the cards can be completely different. So whenever I make sure to check a question, for instance, let's say the question is, does Jacob love me? Okay, I take the question and I go, instead of does he love me, I go, does Jacob have feelings for this person? And then the cards will actually tell me how they actually are feeling. Now, if I was to say, does Jacob have feelings for someone, and I don't put the name on it, then what happens is it'll tell me that that person has feelings for somebody, but it doesn't obviously tell me that who it is, because as you can see, that person, it would be that basic generalization. So you have to be very careful on how you ask the question to make sure that the question is properly introduced to add all three parts to it. That's why whenever I read questions, if I don't understand something, I always go, hey, hold up. This is what I'm going to ask the cards. Heads up. Okay. I found a reading where the reader read the whole reading in reverse. Found it profound, really.
Wouldn't that...
Correct. If a tarot deck says, if you put a name to the question, no, there is no confusion. The tarot deck will see the connection between those two people. If you leave it open, the tarot deck will just see if there's a connection between that person and somebody else. Okay? That's it. Hi, Brooke. Kim, that's interesting. Now, reading it in reverse. Now, so in truth, you can read cards in any way you wish to do it. You can read the future first, the present next, and then the past last. It really doesn't matter, but I always like to go past, present, future, or I like to go from 1 to 10, and the reason why... Oh, the loud buzzing is from our...
Yeah, sorry, Maddie was calling me.
Oh, somebody was calling. Okay. My apologies. Sorry. But anyways, reading left to right or right to left, it really doesn't matter how you actually read it. What matters is that you understand the positioning of what the card is and what it means. So if I read the future first, as long as you know I'm reading future, then I'm reading present, then I'm reading past, as long as you're understanding of the actual positioning of what those cards are, you're fine. Okay. This person's toxicity is driven by jealousy and a common child. So, the child, I would highly recommend putting silver on the child. No joke. I'm not joking when I say this. As far as the jealousy, there's not really much you can do about jealousy. Jealousy is just... the green eyes of jealousy kind of are unable to be eliminated unless a person is able to see it for themselves, what their toxicity is in that area. We are not currently taking questions as far as actual tarot questions. What we are doing is we are taking questions about tarot. We're also taking questions about Wicca or Druidism. I'm really here just kind of as a Q&A. People have been asking for a Q&A, and that is exactly what this is. This is not me doing tarot today. This is me just telling you guys about stuff, how to basically, yeah. A lot of people have been asking that. Like, people have been asking, like, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with a spirit? Things like that. And that's what this is all about. This is me kind of giving you guys a chance to ask questions that sometimes I get sidetracked in the middle of tarot readings that I kind of go into. Last night, people were asking...
Soapbox.
Yeah, today is my soapbox day. Last night, we had somebody asking me about... Well, not last night, but the night before, we had people asking me about ghosts and about how I feel with ghosts. Ghosts are something I've actually had a very large experience with my entire life. I have seen ghosts for most of my life. I've actually seen spirits many, many times, and I'm very prevalent to see spirits because I am what they know as what is known as a wind elemental. There are 4 elementals in the world of magic. Now, again, we do not cast fireballs out of our hands. We don't do anything to that effect. This isn't D&D. But every single person out there in the world there's a chance of having an affinity with 4 different elements of the world. That's fire, earth, water, and air. Okay? This is Muffin, and she's doing really, really good. She's just chilling here, giving support. So, if you have an affinity towards air affinities have more of a clairvoyance. They're very well known to be more of the clairvoyance type. If you have an affinity towards water, you're known as being an empath, or you're being more empathetic. Fires are very resistant to empathetics, and then earth are almost impossible to connect with. So there's a lot of interesting things. Like, earths are really one of the, like, they're considered like a filter. They're really a filter to basically stop negative things immediately. It's kind of funny. But I mean, again, so as you go into those different elements and things like that, you kind of learn a lot about people and things. On average, what percentage of the population as a human race has seen apparitions? Now, apparitions, see, now you have to really think about the way that statement comes across, Kim, because that right there, apparitions. If we say ghosts, or if we say apparitions, we have to take into consideration of aliens, ghosts, cryptids, things like that. And honestly, the percentage is way over the 50% mark. I've heard that within the confines of the world, we have at least 50% or more of the population have seen something that is unexplainable. Now, is that a ghost? Is that a djinn? Is it a Bigfoot? I don't know. I can't honestly say for each and every person, but I can say that there is something more than what we currently believe upon this plane that is currently available to our knowledge. Yes, Kitty.
I wanted to put 2 questions. Explain bicusps of elements in people.
Okay.
And the second one is apparitions. When you say apparitions, it's really a broad term, because couldn't apparitions also mean like dream walking, seeing spirits, seeing demons?
Well, so yeah, that's actually another thing to it. Apparitions. So again, demons. 100% there is a such thing as a demon out there. There is definitely a dark energy that exists. There's also a very thing of, people can actually dream walk. There are actually people out there that actually have the ability to dream walk, and you can sometimes run into these people and you'll kind of see like a shadowing sometimes.
We've got a couple in our lives.
I mean, there's a difference in it. You can definitely tell the difference between the two, but again, it can happen. Now, bicusps. Bicusps, there is 2 reasons why I use the word bicusp, and that is, bicusps, there's a bicusp of your zodiacs. Now, zodiacs, I believe, are 100% bullshit. I'm sorry. Your zodiac, just because you were born on a certain day does not mean that today this is going to happen for you. I really don't believe it's due to the alignment of the stars, things are going to change for you. What it does help you to decide is it kind of gives you your body's kind of baseline of what your body is, but it doesn't really tell you much more than that. It's like tarot, it's a possible outlook. It's just that baseline of what you could possibly be, with understanding that each person is individual and can be tweaked. Okay? Now, a bicusp of elements, there are people that can be tricusps or even quadcusps, which means that they have 1, 2, 3, or 4 elements that are high leveled or equal in level, and those people basically are able to, rotate energies with such. Okay. What have I seen? What have I seen is 2 golden figures, one of which I recognize. Ooh, hi Danielle Gamer. So yeah, I mean that's just cusps. Basically mean that you have the control of 2 elements, and there are many people out there that actually do have the ability to have control of all 4. I have family members that are actually very, very, very prevalent within the knowledge of this stuff, and they're very, very able to manipulate the weathers, or very able to manipulate the elements of life. Now, that does not mean that they can start a fire with their hands. Again, that doesn't. But they can sense and tell things before they happen. Such force. My family member literally can walk out and place his hand upon a tree and go, "It's going to rain in about 3 hours." And kid you not, 3 hours to the point, it's raining. He can tell if it's going to be lightning, thunder. He can tell which way the wind is going. I mean, he can really get really, really, really knowledgeable, because he can feel it in the trees. He can feel it in the ground. He can feel it in the air. And that's because it's the elements basically telling him what's going on. That being said, is that magic? I'm not sure. Is that just awareness of your surroundings? Again, I find it impressive. Some don't. So there's that. All right. So any other questions? And as far as golden figures, gold usually, a golden figure normally, and I will be honest with you, I have seen is more of spirits that are cleansed, or what we would consider a holy item. These are people that are good in nature, and they're passed on, or they're going forth. Usually demons are red or dark black in appearance. They normally will have the tinges of red to them, or they will have a black aura to them. Be very, very careful of those that have those auras, because they are people that you do not want to play with. We were talking yesterday about, or again, the other day, we were talking about spells. Okay? Now I'm going to show you guys a little trick that my family told me, and it's this. When you make a pointing finger... Excuse me. Excuse me, sorry. When you make a pointing finger, you're pointing that finger at somebody, or you're casting a spell at somebody. When you do so, when you make that point finger, 3 fingers point back at you. This is known as the rule of 3. So for every one you put out, 3 times that comes back at you. So thank you guys for the blessings. I appreciate it. That being said, if you put negativity out, you're going to get 3 times negativity coming right on back in there. If you put positivity out, you're going to get 3 times positive back. So for those people that go out there and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to cast this evil spell on my ex-boyfriend because he cheated." Honestly, he already lost you, which was, his stupidity, his loss, because you're the amazing person. And, I mean, he already screwed up. What's the point of sitting there and hurting yourself to cause him a little inconvenience more than he's already done to himself? It's better to move on and leave that shit in the back and leave it to be dust and let it go on. Maybe spit in his car, or, pee in his car tank, whatever, that's fine. But don't cast spells. Don't do that. So yeah, that's just my suggestion. Magic is not something to be played with. I don't highly recommend anybody ever plays with it whatsoever. And the reason I say that is because there is way too much of an opening for darkness to come in. And what I mean by that is, if you, for instance, if you go out today and you go to a toy store and you pick up a Ouija board from Parker Brothers, okay? You bring that home and you start playing with it. A Ouija board from Parker's Brothers is not going to open up the demon's gates and let spirits in. But if you go to an occult store and you pick up something called a witch board, which a witch board is a wooden Ouija board made from tree wood that was actually used in the hanging of witches or used in the hanging of people. These boards are spiritually charged, and then what ends up happening is once you put that on there and you start playing with it, if you screw up and you don't turn it off or you don't properly use it and exit out of it, you will literally let loose very evil spirits upon your life. That being said, when you play with dark things, you bring dark things into your life, which means negativity starts to happen to your entire life, and you start to basically go farther and farther down a rabbit's hole that ends up usually in your soul being lost. Manipulate. Dark energy is best left to the professionals. I completely agree with you, Kim. Dark energy, and see, that's the thing. Even light energy is kind of best left to the professionals as well. Even if you have the best intentions in the world when you cast a spell, let's say you accidentally mix up and you, instead of putting silver in there, you put in tin. Well, the effectiveness of your thing basically reduces by that manipulation of a different metal. And because it's a different metal, it can completely change exactly what that spell does. So instead of what you thought was going out as a good thing is actually going out as a negative thing, and then you just cursed yourself 3 times worse. See what I mean? Make sure that if you're doing something, you actually know what you're doing and you have the knowledge to know that it's actually right. Because if you do something incorrectly or if you use the wrong things, it could come back to bite you in the arse 10 times worse. It's just like, the best way I can put it down is it's like apothecary, or being an apothecary. When you're doing healing herbs, or when you're being a pharmacist, or a chemist, or anything like that, when you're doing all these things, if you don't add the right things together, the results can kill. And that's exactly what magic is. If you don't do it right, the results can kill you. They may not kill you instantaneously, but I promise you, they will make sure that you are in a really bad place for a very long time. Okay? Alright. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Processes? Because here I am, just kind of on my soapbox again. I'm not letting you guys ask questions, which is what the entire tension of this was. How do we pick up on levels of metal as a healer? What do you mean by the levels of metal?
Like the purity of it?
Are you talking about the purity of a metal? Or are you talking about, like, making sure it's actually silver? Or making sure it's actually, you know what I mean? Oh, how do you pick up on, like, people that need healing? So 99.9% of the times, as a druid, how we can actually sense people that need help, or that we can sense people that need cleaning or cleansing, I will usually see it in the aura. The aura is the normal way that I am able to see things. If I was more fluid in water, I could see it in touch. If it was, if I'm more of an earth sense, I could see it more so in, just the flow of their energy around me. So, that being said, to tell when somebody needs help or to tell how to fix somebody, honestly, the only way to do it is usually through a handshake, or studying their aura, in my opinion. I will normally grip somebody's hand really tightly, give them a nice firm handshake, and I kind of send my energy out there to kind of test them if I saw something in the aura. That being said, when it comes to healing somebody, make sure that you're doing it properly, because you don't want to cause more damage than you did, help. But yeah, it's all about that feel. Think about it this way. If you push energy into somebody, there's going to be like this residual that comes out. So basically, think of it like, how do I explain this? Think of it like a straw, okay? Think of their body as like a giant straw through their entire body that goes through their entire body and then comes right back to the spot that you're at, okay? When you grab their hand, you're kind of breaking that straw right at that place, and you're pushing water into that straw that's already full of water. And as you push water in, the same water you just pushed in kind of pushes out at the back end of it and pushes back to you. So when you do something like this, you can kind of feel like if you're not getting that pushback of how much you put in there, you can tell there's blockages, you can tell there's issues, there's things that's going on. Also, when you feel that, you're actually getting that water back, and you're kind of feeling the contaminants of that water, and you're feeling the issues in there. Now, we're doing this with energy, not water, obviously. So that energy coming back, you kind of feel how it's messed, or how it's icky, or I don't know how the professional word to say this is, or how it's tainted. There we go, the professional word is tainted. And then from that taint, you're able to kind of detect what it is, and you can actually push. Yeah. Yes, always. I highly recommend Sage. Sage is like your best friend in the entire world. Sage will always help you out in a bad situation. I am very, very big, and I believe selenite is a phenomenal thing to have with you at all times. Selenite is something that will basically help you from getting negativity towards you. So highly recommend it always. In fact, because it flakes so much and it's so easy to flake, it's really easy to put into burning and put it in sage and such, so that you can actually add it to a ash. Just so you know. Anyway. So Kim, what do you practice, if you don't mind me asking? Are you Wiccan, or are you a priestess of, the Avalon series or things like that? Always wash your hands after I undulate? Yes. It does flake very easily, and it can really get in your hands. I completely agree. Yes. So, yeah. So, okay, anyway. So, the big thing we were going to talk about today is tarot. Now, tarot... Oh, that's cool. Tarot cards. 78 cards that mean absolutely nothing unless you know what you're doing with them, okay? And I appreciate that, Kim. I 100% am the same way. I take knowledge from a lot of places, and I always am very, very big about that. So, tarot cards are divided into 5 major things. You have the major arcana, which is 21 or 22 cards. I think it's 22 cards is the major arcana, because it's 0 through 21. Always got to remember 0. Then you have the ace through king of the other 4. Now, you have swords, cups, pentacles, or in mine, it's not pentacles, it's something else. God, it's been so long. Oh, it's wands in mine. That's right. I have coins, wands, cups, and swords. Okay? That's what mine is. Normal decks out there have pentacles, which will be your coins instead. Swords sometimes can be referred to as daggers. Cups, normally it's cups. Everybody always does cups. And then wands, some people do staffs, people do wands, some people do sticks. I mean, again, it's the same basics across the entire board. So, tarot works out because of 2 things. 1, you can have no investment whatsoever in the reading. What I mean by that is, you can't have a dog or a horse in the race, so to speak. So, you never want to do readings for yourself. You never want to do readings about yourself. So, if a friend asks you a question, and I know this sounds stupid, why they would ask your tarot deck this, does this person like me? And the person they're asking about is you. You have to calmly look at them and go, place your deck down and go, you can honestly answer them and be like, sorry, I have feelings for you or I don't have feelings for you, but I can't ask that to my deck. And the reason that comes down is because you can't actually enter in greed into a deck. And when you talk about yourself or when you propose yourself into your deck, that offers up greed to the deck because you're trying to use it for your own advancing, and that allows greed. Now, many people out there do not believe this. This is an old teaching. Just like there's an old teaching of you're never supposed to buy your own deck. You're supposed to only have your decks given to you. My deck was actually given to me by my mother back in 1996. This deck is that old, and it was given to me. This deck right here was given to me by family, and my other deck back there, again, was given to me by family. So I follow that rule immensely, and every single one of my decks works extremely well. When it comes to cleansing my decks, I always use Sage. I always use Dragon's Blood. Those two combine together. I burn it, and then I take the ash, and I place the ash on the cards, and I shuffle the cards, and I keep that at all times on them. Can you infuse and use... What's the difference between a single card reading, a 3-card, and a 10-card? I'll get to that in 1 second. Can you infuse the use of crystals in conjecture with tarot? Yes. There is absolutely nothing in the world that prevents crystals from being used along with tarot. Here's the thing. I am not a crystal person whatsoever. I have crystals up here. I have these crystals up here for one reason and one reason only. I enjoy what these crystals are. There are other people out there that they will use the selenite, and they will actually have the selenite basically where it'll have the energy going through that selenite, and then it comes to them, then they filter it into their deck, things like that. So 100% is always a possibility to do that. Hi, Miss Metal. I personally do not use crystals. I will usually keep crystals up here just to kind of fend away the bad spirits if somebody tries to send them that way, but that's just how it is. Now, somebody asked me, what's the difference between a 1, 3, and 10 card reading? Okay? So, a single card reading, for instance, let's do this. Let's have a little bit of fun. We're going to do a single card on Kim. Okay? So, Kim, I'm going to do a single card, and all this card is going to tell me is it's going to tell me who you are. And a single card is the Ace of Cups. Now, the Ace of Cups tells me emotional fulfillment. Right now, currently, Kim, you are emotionally a fulfilled person. You have a quite good energy about you, which means you're currently in a situation of good statements, and you're currently in a situation of good moods. So your body is filled with positive, not negative. So that's a single card. Doesn't really tell you much other than just that. What the card means and things like that. What's up, Semper? Okay. A 3 card is what we call past, present, future. So again, we're still using Kim as my example because I'm still having her energy flow through here. We have the 7 of Cups, which means that in the past, she had confusion and had to get her priorities in order. Then, recently, she got to a breakthrough, which that breakthrough is leading her into the future to the 7 of Coins, which the 7 of Coins, because I have to double check here, is hard work but approaching harvest time. Okay? So, what this right here tells us is that she was very, very confused in the past. She worked very, very hard to get her life in order, and then getting that life in order, she finally has that breakthrough, and this breakthrough is going to lead her to working very, very hard and getting more, advancements in the future. Okay? That's what 3 card is for. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, a 10 card is what we call a Celtic Cross. I'm not going to do a Celtic Cross right now, but what a Celtic Cross does is it goes into a much more depth to a question. So when a question comes about and you can't get an answer from a single card, you can't get an answer from a 3 card, you go into a much more in-depth 10 card. Now 10 cards are, and I will explain these as I place them. Okay. 1 is present. Position. 2 is in the immediate influences of the person. 3 is their goal or destiny. 4 is their distant past. 5 is their recent past. 6 is their future. 7 is their questionnaire. Basically, okay. So wait. Let's pause on this. Okay. We are not doing readings right this second, Miss Metal. We're just kind of doing a Q&A type thing. This is kind of like if you have any questions about tarot, this is the time to ask it. Not if you have a question for the deck. So this is what we call the personals cross. This is personal information that gets us information about the question and the quadrant of what was basically given up. So this is where we find out, for instance, in this case, we have a person that had an intense relationship, and the relationship is going super, super fast, faster than the person is is used to it. Okay? The person then is the Queen of Wands, which the Queen of Wands says that they're a female of leadership. The Seven of Wands is their distant past, which means that they had barriers between them and others, but they finally wanted somebody to support them. They came up to the Two of Wands, which was good advice being given and received, and then they went to the Eight of and then in the future they're going to be going to the Eight of Cups, which that's superstitious or deluding. Okay, what does this all mean? Yes, I'm going to be on later tonight for regular tarot tonight, Morgan. Very, very much so. So these 7 cards. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So these 6 cards basically tell me about the questioner. Okay. Then the next 4 cards tell me first the questioner, second the environmental factors, third the inner emotions, and then finally the 4th is the final results. Okay? So in this person's case, it would be the questioner is in the shadows and they're unable to dance. They're getting ready to move on from a very negative situation. They're going to be learning to live, their inner emotions is they want to travel and they want to learn. And then finally, the solution to do all these things is to not carry everyone else's burden. So in this case, if we were thinking about there was a guy in the person's life, it would basically be telling this person that this person's about to betray you. It's been moving way too fast. You're not in control of the situation, and you need to get away from this person as soon as possible and remove yourself from the burdens that they give you. That's what these 10 cards say in general. How it says it, it takes a little bit of I know every single one of these cards very, very well. Surprisingly. I actually know these cards backwards and forwards today. But each and every one of them in their current positions basically tell you exactly a little bit more about the story that's there. And that story, when it's finally read to its completion, tells you, right here in the 10 of Wands, do not carry on everyone else's burdens. Okay? This means that the person that's there, while there's been this amazing relationship and that's been going very, very quick, it's going to go down very, very soon, which is, again, what the Eight of Cups was saying. It's about to go down very, very soon, and before it does, you need to unburden yourself from them. So. Now, do I believe that more people need to be responsible when it comes to tarot? Okay. Let's do the brass tacks here about tarot, okay? Every single religion in the entire world can and should use tarot cards, okay? That being said, there is no gatekeeping to tarot, okay? I don't believe in that. I don't want that ever to happen. I want everybody out there to understand that you can go pick up a tarot deck tomorrow and you can start learning. What I ask you to do is remember, when you get into these things, follow the rules. Okay? There are a lot of people that don't follow the rules, and they give what we call greedy answers. Okay?
False readings.
False readings or greedy answers. Okay? There is a deck in this house that is full of greed. This deck right here is a greed deck. Okay? This deck is Muffin's deck. I love Muffin to death. She is my little tarot reader, but she is pushed by greed. She's pushed by the fact that she gets treats whenever she does these readings. Okay? So when Muffin does a 3-card reading, because she doesn't do 10 cards, when she does a 3-card reading, that 3-card reading is 100% greed driven. So it kind of makes the person hear what they want to hear more so than what they need to hear. Okay? That's the problem. If somebody keeps hearing what they want to hear, they believe that that's what's going to happen, and then they end up getting themselves hurt. I always warn everybody, be warned, muffins are greed readings. I've warned a lot of people about that, and that means they may not be so accurate. And that's why I was like, if you hear from my deck and my deck says one thing and the muffin says differently, trust me, follow what my deck said. It'll be better for you. That being said, a lot of people out there don't know if their deck is greed driven or if their deck is properly cleaned. That being said, they can't tell you if they're going to get hurt. That's why I always preference every single reading out there with take this as a grain of salt. Okay? This is also why I never do health questions, and you should never do health questions. I do take pregnancy questions out there as far as, hey, will I get pregnant? I take those because my cards are pretty good at that. But I do not tell people, hey, this is for surefire. If something changes, this can change. You just have to remember, take the rules into effect and make sure to take in the simple fact that every single thing about tarot is this is a snapshot view of you right now. This is not a view of you in 10 minutes. This is a snapshot view of you right now. If you change anything from now to 10 minutes from now and you ask the same question to the deck, you will see different answers. Okay? And that's because as you shift or as you do things that change the way that you're or the path that you're on, it's going to change your results. It's going to change that future. So, there's that. Is there a way to clean a deck after it's been introduced to greed? Yes and no. The only way to get a greedy deck to dissipate or completely lose its greed is to literally do this. Is take the deck, wrap it, like you see here. I have this one completely sealed and wrapped, and then you give it to somebody. Upon giving it to somebody, your greed is removed from it, because in giving it to somebody, you remove the greed by basically taking away that negativity or that power that you had upon it, and handing it to somebody else shows generosity and cleans the deck of the greed. Then, once they get that deck, they again have to cleanse it for themselves, and that should technically take care of it. So a greedy deck can be cleaned, but as long as you have it, you can never clean it. You can clean it 1,000,000 times. If you used it for greed, the deck will always think that it can basically can tempt you into greed again. It's basically, once you've greeded the deck, it will never change. I could technically use this deck properly, but Muffin will forever always have greed when it comes to this deck, because she wants her treats, which she's a cat. I mean, if you're coming on here and you're taking a cat's tarot readings as the gospel truth, yeah. What should you do with a deck you thought you had a connection with, but now it's gone? So, okay, most Irish people are Druids. Actually, it's not always the Irish, it's more of Celtic, and farther back, it's a very, very, there's a very, very ginormous, area of people that are actually Druids. Irish, there are a lot of Irish that are Druids. There are a lot of Welsh. There's a lot of German. There's a lot of English. I mean, there are. If you trace back your heritage far enough, you can find a lot of people that from a lot of different genealogies are within it. Just like Wicca, it's something that as we've all spread and we've all grown, it's kind of spread out and grown. Celtic is a subgroup. I mean, Celtic is... oh, God. I don't even know how to explain this one, because, I mean, I'm not a genealogist, but I know this for a fact that there's nothing that says you have to be Irish to be a Druid. There's nothing that says you have to be a German to be Druid. You can be whatever thing you want to, and you can still be a Druid. What ends up having to be the difference between being a Druid and not being a Druid is, can you talk to the trees? Now, that right there is the ultimate test, 100%. If you are somebody that when you take your shoes off and you walk into the yard and you walk up to a tree and you lay your hand upon that tree, you can feel that tree talking to you. And I don't mean it's actually going to say words like, hello, friend, how are you today? It's obviously not going to do that. But you can feel things about that tree. You can feel that that tree is healthy. You can feel that that tree is sick. If you can feel those things just by touching that tree and feeling the energy around that tree, you might be a druid. Plain and simple. Wiccans technically have nothing to do with that. That is a druidic trait, not a Wiccan trait. So, and that probably means you probably have extreme good roots within druidic pastas. Most females within the druid sect are known as the priestess of Avalon, or the priestesshood. Then all males are known as druids. Females, priestesses, males, druid. Okay? What should you do with a deck if you thought you had a connection with and is now gone? Now, if you lose a connection with a deck, there are two or more things you can do. One, cleanse it. Re-cleanse the deck. If after cleansing the deck you feel no energy whatsoever between the two of you, then it's time to retire that deck. What you do is you place that deck, you bind it up properly in a nice... I always like using these types of things. I really like getting a nice sealable case. You bind it up in a nice sealable case, make sure you have everything in there, and then after you've done so, gift it to somebody. If somebody finds that gift properly, it pushes the trait more farther down the way. And it basically pushes all that knowledge and all that love that you put in that deck on pass to somebody else. You know what I mean? That being said, it's not a bad thing. I mean, giving a deck away is not a horrible thing. It's a great thing for you sometimes. Okay? Native American ancestry. Now, that's interesting. Shamans of Native America never really had tarot, but they did have runes, which the runes were bones. Interesting thing. Scandinavian, yes. Yes. There you go. Well, I mean, if the trees don't hear you as much, if they talk to you and don't listen, that's okay. It's okay to sometimes have it where the tree will talk to you, but it won't listen to you. Listening to you is a lot of practice. It takes a very long time of practicing and sitting out there and quietly listening before it kind of listens to you back. What was it? Okay, I'm going to sound really stupid here, but in The Lord of the Rings, if you guys remember, the Ents took ages to make a decision, okay? Why did they take ages to make a decision? Well, life of a tree is a life of hundreds of years, okay? Trees can last hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, okay? That being said, they're not very fast to talk about things. They're not very quick to acknowledge and speak to a human that just is there and gone in an instant. That being said, it takes a lot of practice for them to hear you, and it takes a lot of practice for you to listen to them properly. So, give it time. I know I'm using Lord of the Rings, but hey, I mean, it's a very good analogy of what it means. I mean, it's just, when you have something that has a lifespan so infinitesimally longer than your own, when you sit there and you have your 40 or 50 years, it comparatively to each other, it's very, very quick for it to go, I've been around much longer than you. What the hell are you doing bugging me? So, yeah. But yeah, as far as, listening, just remember trees will eventually listen, and they'll eventually talk back and forth to you. It just takes time. And you will sometimes hear, like, if you ask it a question, a week later you get the answer. No joke. It really does happen. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, I saw this video on TikTok of trees moving. Funny thing about trees. Trees will wave. Trees will actually sway. They'll dance. They actually do have movements. There's no wind out there and trees will move. People are like, oh, no, it's the wind. It's just the wind's up way higher. No, trees move on their own. I know that for a fact. I've seen it. I read the books mostly when I was a kid, Kim. I just say watching the movies because the movies is a lot of people have seen them. But I read the books as a kid, like the inflatable balloon man. Yes, the wacky, crazy, wailing, flailing arms. Yes, exactly. But yeah, trees move just because they are a living thing. Remember, they have blood going through them, which, I mean, all it is it's water and sap, but that blood, as it's pumping through their entire bodies, their bodies tend to move. We think of trees as this inanimate object, but in truth, it is a living, breathing organism. It has life going on inside of it. It's taking sunlight, it's converting it to energy. That energy is being flowed around through its sap and water, through its entire base and its root system. It is a living, breathing mammoth machine. And if you think that they can't move on their own, well, I mean, granted, they're not going to swing their arms down like the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter, but still, you get it. Hey, what's up, Cake Sweet? Faith, what's up? Good to see you.
I know you didn't see this, but someone asked, how do you know if a tarot deck is yours or not?
Okay, so... Alright. The best way to explain it is this. This deck right here, every single time I pick it up... Now, I want you guys to see something here. I'm going to take these cards and I'm going to flip them over. And you can actually see the crest in here. You can actually see the crest in that deck of how much it's worn itself and how much it goes in one direction and things like that. Okay? I've had this deck since 1996. So 28 years? Something like that. I mean, 27, 28 years. Very, very long. Okay? That being said, the first time I ever touched this deck, I could feel the energy. I could feel that my energy flowed in and out of this deck very, very easily. So, if a deck is yours, it'll allow you to flow energy very, very quickly. This is an anime deck that I was just given recently, okay? This deck, touching it, is cold. This deck is cold. I can't really push energy through it very well. I've tried shuffling it a little bit. I've tried manipulating it a little. It feels clumsy. It just doesn't feel right. Every single little bit about it just doesn't feel proper. That could be the texture of the card. That could be a lot of different things. But in all, it's this card deck telling me that this deck is not for me. So, that being said, a deck will tell you if you're chosen or not. It's your choice to listen or not. And if you choose not to listen, well, then you'll get very inaccurate questions. Or you'll get very, very inaccurate answers. Okay? Playing Tarot 2 is a nice either way. Wait, what? How did I not see that? Oh, I didn't see that one. Okay. I didn't see that question. Was that question on TikTok? I don't know how the hell that didn't come up on here.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Oh, okay, cool. So anyways, alright, cool. Yeah, this is the anime deck. I mean, I don't mind it. It's a beautiful deck, just it's not for me. I'm probably, like I said to everybody else, I'm going to regift this one eventually. And again, there is that thing that if a deck doesn't resonate with you, if you give it time, sometimes it may resonate with you in time. In all honesty, this deck, the second I touched it when I was a kid, it resonated with me, and I never once put it down. I had a White Rider deck that I used for many, many years as well that, honestly, I never felt was really properly mine. I never felt right about it. So, once I picked this one up, and I actually felt the difference, I loved it. So, can I talk about Oracle cards? What would you like to know about Oracles? I can try. Oracle cards are not my bread and butter, so to speak. But they are something that is very commonly misconstrued as tarot. And they are very commonly considered to be our sister cards. But Oracle, 99.9% of the time, Oracle cards are used as what we call information cards. Okay? So, for instance, you can use a tarot card, and let's say we do a 3-card reading. Okay? So we lay out a 3-card reading like so. Okay? This has absolutely no question to it. And we get to the present, okay? And for some reason it says emotional fulfillment. And we go, we're completely lost in what that emotional fulfillment is. You can actually sometimes take an oracle deck, you shuffle an oracle deck, pushing the question through, and then flip those 2 oracles, and the oracle can sometimes help bring light to that tarot card. Vice versa, the same can be done to an oracle card, okay? Oracles are very much so, if properly done, an oracle is supposed to be an external energy source giving you guidance, gently pushing you in the direction you need to go. Okay? Now, it's not all of it is very forward or very, very properly done. There are some really amazing oracle readers out there. I've seen a lot of them. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitch. They're all out there. I really have nothing but amazing things to say about them. But I just am not an oracle reader. I've just always been tarot. Tarot has always been my bread and butter. It's always been what I honestly am super attracted to. Have you ever experienced a deck that resonates with 2 people at the same time? Decks should never resonate with more than one person. A deck should never resonate with more than one person. The reason it should never resonate with more than one person is it can literally cause misreads, in my opinion. What? Alright. I mainly use what I call timeline cards, where I would pull out 10 cards and rearrange them. The deck is called the Finded. Oh, that's cool. So again, I mean, there's a lot of people that are amazing with Oracle. Have you ever built your own deck? So I have made multiple decks. I've actually made multiple decks multiple times, and I never really felt the decks were right. I immediately let them go and gave them to other people, which they felt that they had a connection with them. I don't believe that I am a builder. I'm more so a reader and not a builder, if you understand that concept. Which I'm pretty sure you understand that if you've ever built your own. You can do well, you can do okay, but it's just not my cup of tea, so to speak. I don't like the training ability of it. What is my favorite deck? My favorite deck is the Dragon Tarot. This is what it looks like normally. This is the Dragon Tarot. It's old school, great. This is actually a new one of them that I bought to replace the instruction booklet, because I literally had an instruction booklet fall apart, so I needed a new one. This is just it, and it was just a replacement. This is also what we call our stunt cards, which we take pictures of. We use it for our TikToks and things like that. And what I mean by that is, like, when we just lay cards out, this is what we would use, so that we're not using the original deck. The original deck never gets used for that type of stuff. Only this. Do I ever believe a deck should be destroyed? Okay. Yes. I have run across 2 or 3 decks in my past that were what we would call evil. Hey Nova. What I mean by evil is these decks were very much so designed to the point where they were basically giving people advice that would be disastrous. Okay? They were telling people to do things that shouldn't be done, and meanwhile, every single time that the person spoke, they would say sweet things that the cards were saying, but in truth, what the cards actually meant were very, very malicious. Can't speak today. That being said, if a deck goes rogue and a deck starts saying negative things like that and starts doing bad things like that, it may be time to cleanse it. And if a cleanse doesn't work, burn it. I mean, I hate to say that, but if a deck gets out of control and the point where it's obviously negative constantly, it's time to burn it. And that's the end of it. Hey, Butter, what's up? All right. Come on. You've been given a treat. Come on. Come on. Come on. Your fans demand your presence. Come on, beautiful kitten. Buttercup, we are not doing readings right now. What we're doing is we're doing a Q&A. Muffin, sit. Hey, sit. Come here. Sit. So yeah, Buttercup, we are not actually doing readings right now. We're basically doing a Q&A where this is basically ask questions about tarot cards, ask any questions you've ever wondered about tarot. This is the time to do it. How much do readers' energies are reflected in the reading on average? So, in truth, the reader's energy should not affect the reading whatsoever. Nowhere in there should my energy have anything to do whatsoever with your deck or with your reading at all. So, for instance, when I do this, I am taking your energy from, let's say, okay, so we got Buttercup here, okay? So, I'm going to take Buttercup's energy, okay? So, we're going to take Buttercup's energy. We're going to, his question, whatever it be, is going to come in. The energy from that question is going to come into my hand. I'm going to then shuffle, okay? As I'm shuffling this, I am not using my energy. I am just focusing and actually using just Buttercup's energy, okay? So as I'm doing this, now, whatever Buttercup's question was is being pushed in here, and then we're going to go 3 cards, okay? Those 3 cards, after I've laid them down, I set this deck down, okay? Now, I have not placed any of my intent into it. I have not placed any of my energy into it, and that is because the intent of the cards is the cards are the ones that are basically taking that energy. They're manipulating the cards to be in the position that they are supposed to be in, and this is the answer it should be in. So, Buttercup, your answer would be, your past is the King of Cups, which is your emotionally sensitive, your emotionally mature man capable of giving and receiving love. Just recently, you got into a situation where you're extremely confused, and you need to get your priorities in order. And once you do so, you'll become the Queen of Coins, which is a woman that wants to develop the work side of her life. That means that your past relationship with your husband, possibly, or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, your relationship right now is in a state of confusion due to a lot of emotional issues that are going on with your partner, and you need to get your priorities in order. You need to get your stuff, you need to get your ducks in a row. And after you get your ducks in a row, it looks like you'll be working very, very hard financially to become better financially. And there you go. That right there, I know nothing about Buttercup's question. But Buttercup right now should be able to, from those cards, go, holy crap, he just answered my question. Okay? Have you ever read someone to where you would get angry because the person you're reading would... I don't really let people affect me. In that sense. Now, and by the way, now... You were talking about my energy. Now I am actually focusing my energy through this. So now as I focus my energy through this is activating the Sage and the Dragon's Blood that I've actually have in this. And what I'm doing is, as I'm doing that Sage is cleaning these cards, and I'm removing Buttercup's energy from them. So now that Buttercup's energy is removed, now I can move on to the next person and start the next person. So that's how that works for me. Again, I've had people ask me questions, and if a question's being asked, if I feel bad intentions from it, I will skip the question. Or if someone's, for instance, if somebody's asking me, will me and Jonathan be together? And meanwhile, their energy's pushing through that I want Jonathan to burn in hell. I'm going to take that energy, I'm going to feel that energy and go, nope, and I'm going to kick it off. And I'm going to go, no. And I'm going to go on to the next person. But so far, I've not had people do that. Yes, Kitty?
That's only happened once in our lives.
Yeah, it has happened once. We had somebody who was doing some bad things.
We had someone put in a question, and we got through the question, and we found out what they were saying was completely not true.
Yeah.
The person they were asking about was not real.
Yeah. And I went, and I kind of stopped, and I'm like, yikes, something's wrong here. This person's not real. And I called him on it. Yes, Muffin, I'm brushing my beard.
And then they left.
Sorry, guys, I gotta do so many brushes every once in a while. But yeah, you can, as a reader, after you get so far in the reading sense of things, or after you've done things for so long, you kind of start to get a sense. And thank you, Nova. It's actually getting better. So, for instance, you get a sense of things. Like, for instance, when you take an energy from somebody, you can really feel what they're going through. Would you put an age limit on the use of tarot? I started when I was 8 years old. Okay. I was trained from the age of 8. I made the decision to go that route, and it was my decision. Okay. If a child decides to go the route of tarot and they want to learn tarot, and they have somebody that is willing to teach them, I see no age limit. That being said, do not put a tarot deck in a 5-year-old's hands that has no desire whatsoever to do it. You have to make sure that they have a desire, okay? Now, I put it in a 5-year-old's hand right here, and as you can see, the deck is extremely greedy. Right, Muffin? Yes. Yes, exactly. I mean, if my cat can do it, anybody can do it. I want a beard so bad, but facial hair is saying no. Bump floofy beards, not fluffy butts. Love it, Nova. As far as the beard, Nova, just remember, eventually when it starts happening that you actually start getting your beard to grow, this is stupid, but hear me out. When you start getting facial hair, make sure to shave this area, or the area you want to actually have your beard. Make sure you shave that consistently, like every single morning for about a month straight. Okay? Then after that, let you go about 3 or 4 days and start actually brushing your hair straight down as it comes in. And then just over the next 2 months, just keep brushing. What it does is it actually causes the follicles here to continue to grow. And it basically causes all this to keep growing, and it grows straight down. Just so you know. I can literally see a child's gift by having them hold a regular deck of playing cards. Wow. Well, there you go. I mean, I usually don't, like I said, I don't normally handle a kid unless a kid wants to learn it. And again, that all comes down to the fact of you have to want it to learn it. You can't just pick it up and go, oh yeah, I know how to do this. Trust me, it's not something that just comes naturally. When I was actually 8 years old, I learned, I learned palm reading, I learned throwing of the bones, I learned how to craft my own set of bones and throw them, I learned oracle, I learned tarot, I learned dream weaving, and a few others. Because of me being a wind, they were like, you gotta, one of these has gotta resonate with you. Out of all those things, tarot resonated the strongest with me, and I fell in love with doing tarot. And I've continued to do tarot since. I've built a few sets of runes over the years, and I normally give them out to somebody, and I'm just done with it. Have you ever read somebody without using the cards and just by looking at them? Any shamanic drumming? I've never done the shamanic drumming, but I've been to a few drum circles, and I love the rhythm and beat. But I've never done shamanic drumming. Sorry. So, funny story there, Faith. And actually, there are people that can actually verify this that are not me, but I can actually read people and actually do extremely spooky fucking readings on people. And what I mean by extremely spooky is I don't know them from Sam. I don't know anything about them, and I can walk up and I can literally tell them parts of their past that they've completely buried. So, what's up, Kitty?
You've gone into our local stores and people have literally asked you for readings.
Yeah, I have gone to local stores and people have asked for readings, and I'm able to do it even without cards. So yeah. Will anything happen if you ignore cards calling and or trees calling? Will anything happen if you ignore the cards or you ignore a tree? Honestly, no. Trees tend to, if a tree calls for you, a tree tends to forget you even exist 5 seconds after calling you. That being said, they really don't mind if you kind of move on. Cards, if your card calls out to you, or if a card deck calls out to you and goes, hey, you should pick me up. Again, that is a choice. It really is, because tarot decks call out to people that have nothing to do with tarot. And when they do that, it's them telling you, hey, you could wield me very, very well. Just because you can wield something doesn't mean you should wield it. I mean, end of story. So yeah, there's that. Do you want me to brush you instead? Okay, sorry. See, I share everything with her. Thank you, Nova.
Did you run out of coffee?
I've still got some. I probably could use another cup, but
I was gonna go on and get an energy drink. Bless you, Luna.
One-on-one? I mean, one-on-ones can happen. I mean, a one-on-one, you can literally read somebody's intentions. You can read their past. You can read a lot of things from people if you're empathic or if you are clairvoyant. If you have the ability to do it, you 100% can. Tashana, I will be doing live questions tonight at 7 p.m. Tonight, right now, is just Q&A about tarot and druids. We're just literally basically ask a druid anything you want. So, but you can't ask me tarot question because I'm not going to... Well, you can't ask me questions to ask my deck because my deck's not doing that right now. All right, Kim, thank you. Have a great one, and thank you for coming in. We appreciate all the questions. So, I mean, there's that. I mean, and that's basically... I mean, tarot is a very fickle beast, just like trees, just like anything else in this world. When you basically come into it and you actually learn what you're doing or what you're getting into, it actually helps out in the long run to basically keep it within a, level. Don't let yourself burn yourself out on it. Don't let yourself get into it and for not good reasons. Get into it because you want to. Can hear one of your worst feelings while doing a read. Well, I mean, yeah. What if you constantly ignore trees because you didn't know it was involved with being a druid because you thought it was part of your religion? If you constantly, I mean, again, trees don't care. If you constantly ignore them, they're really not going to say anything to you. They're just trying to call out to you to let you know that, hey, you're one of us. You can talk to us. They're just letting you know that you can talk to us. That's really all they're doing. Again, even if you go to a tree and you talk to a tree, it really doesn't answer back immediately. It takes a long time to understand. It just does. That's how it is. So, yeah. If a tree's calling out to you, I honestly say take your shoes off, get over there, dig your toes into the dirt a little bit, and just rest your hand on it, and, or... another thing I will say, honestly, one of my favorite things to do is just pop an earbud in, go out, sit on a tree, and just lay there with my back on the tree, and just basically let the music kind of roll through me, and just let my energy flow back and forth between the tree. It's a beautiful, wonderful way to just letting myself actually communicate with nature. I let my feet dig into the ground and, get all dirty and everything, and then the wife yells at me because I'm tracking mud in the house, Whenever I do tarot, hold up. Whenever I do tarot, is that I feel I need to help others as much as I can, but it could be draining. Okay, so if tarot is draining you, there's a reason. So, here's the thing. When it comes to tarot, you are taking energy from other people and you're transferring it to this deck. When you come into thinking about this, when you look at it and you think about it, let's say you're talking to somebody in Iceland, okay? You're transferring that energy all the way from Iceland, all the way to here, and then into your deck, and then after that, you're basically just, doing it, and then you're telling the answers, and then you're going on to the next person. You're damn right it can get exhausting. It gets really exhausting really quickly. Very good tarot readers that I know can maybe go a maximum of maybe an hour to 2 hours if they're actually properly doing it. Bad tarot readers can go all night long because they're not transferring any energy whatsoever. Faith. I would like to know what's in that curse breaking spray, to be honest with you. I would really want to know. Because, honestly, depending on what's in there, I mean, really, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't exactly, I don't say that it wouldn't. Could you describe the feeling of the energy transfer? Have you ever had a really hot day? Okay, and I want you guys to think about this. You're outside, it's a really hot day, you just got done mowing the lawn. You're sweating, you're completely and utterly drenched to the top. You come inside and you grab that glass of ice cold water. And you take that drink of ice cold water and you just kind of completely just drink the entire thing. And you feel that super cold water kind of just spread through your entire vein system. And you can feel it spreading through your entire body. It's the exact same thing with the energy transfer. It's exactly the same thing. So, that's the best way to describe it. Quick, fast, and dirty. So, yeah, honestly, Faith, though, I would really want to know what's in that spray. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't work, but I would just want to know what's in that spray because I would want to know what I'm putting on my cards. Because, honestly, I don't like putting things on my cards unless I know what's on my cards. And, that's just how it is. Are there bad energy transfers? Yes. Oh, God, yes. If a tree is rotting and a tree is dying, when you put your hand on it, it feels so cold. When you normally put your hand on a tree, it feels really, really warm. And it feels, kind of spreads out your body and kind of warms up your entire body like warm apple, just like a warm blanket kind of covering up you type thing. But when a tree's dying or when a tree's hurting, you can really, really feel it, and it really just kind of hurts your soul. Emily, we are doing the Q&A right now. We're actually doing the regular tarot tonight at 7, where we're just doing a Q&A right now about basically ask me anything about Druid questions or tarot questions if you have any. We're not doing any card questions right now, though.
That's at 7.
That'll be at 7 tonight, yep. Yeah, cold and sad, depressive feelings. Yeah, that kind of describes it. When something's dying, you can feel the depth of its pain. You can actually feel how it's actually hurting sometimes. You can sometimes, if it's infected by, termites or something, you can sometimes feel pain. There's a lot of weird things. Can a deck purposely give wrong answers? Yes. Okay. Aaron, I'm going to explain this to you. We talked about this a little earlier, but yes, this deck right here is a clean deck. Okay. This deck right here is my deck, and I've used it for years and years and years. It is properly done and has always properly followed the rules. This deck is Muffin's deck. Okay. This is Muffin. This deck is a deck filled with greed because Muffin wants treats. And because Muffin wants treats, basically whenever you get a reading from Muffin, it's her greed is going in those cards to pick the cards. And as you can see right here, she's like, oh, yeah, I'll pick cards for you. See? Because she wants treats. So her cards, they will not exactly give you wrong answers. They will tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. If that makes sense. So you would say it's a wrong answer, but more so likely it's telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. If you get my drift. I don't think decks ever purposefully say the wrong answer, especially since most decks are very, very neutral. Most decks, the only reason why they ever give the wrong answer is because of if they're greed infested decks, or if they are improperly wielded. How do I get them to tell me what I need to hear? what you need to hear, how to get into that is you actually have to, first and foremost, you have to follow the rules, okay? So, the rules to tarot are this, and these are the basic rules. Number one, no tarot deck should ever be bought for yourself. I understand, I completely get it. Next, you should never do tarot readings for yourself. And third, you should never do tarot readings for profit, okay? Those are the 3 basic rules to tarot, okay? No buying your own deck, no giving yourself readings, and no using your readings for money, okay? That being said, there are loopholes, and there are ways to get around every single one of those things, other than doing a reading for yourself. I have never once found a reading for myself to actually work properly and actually give me a proper answer, other than what I want to hear for myself. And that's because you're pushing your own energy into it, and it's kind of bad. I directly set up my deck so that if I push my own energy into it, it completely clears the deck, so that it will never tell me anything. But that's besides the point. That's me. Anyway, so how do you get a deck to tell you what you need to hear is this. First, it has to be a deck that follows the rules. Second of all, it has to be a deck that is properly maintained. Third of all, you need to make sure that the person that's actually transferring the energy is properly transferring the energy. So in other words, if your question is, Aaron, does Stephanie like me as a friend? Okay, for instance. I have to be, as the reader, I have to grab that question and transfer your energy into that deck, shuffle that deck, pushing just your energy, not pushing my own. Upon doing that, the deck will respond and give you an answer properly. So, there you go. So, that's the best way to do it. What do you think dreaming new doors in your house means? So, that's dream dancing. So, dreaming new doors in your house means that your world's about to expand. It means your world is growing. New things are coming. New horizons are coming to you. Dream meanings are very interesting because whenever you start adding things in your dream or things that aren't really there in the real world, but you can see them then, it means your world's about to expand or your world's about to grow. Sometimes new doors mean a partner. Sometimes they mean a baby. Sometimes they mean family coming to live with you. It means a lot of different things. It's just, again, dreams.
Oh, by the way, VK shared the spray she uses in Discord.
Oh, cool. Thank you. How can I heal past trauma and or childhood trauma?
Therapy.
So, to deal with trauma, there's no answer that's going to solve that like that. You have to confront it. You have to be willing to actually state it out loud what actually happened. You actually have to know what happened. You have to state it out loud, and you have to tell a professional. And I mean that in the most conscious way ever. I deal with my past trauma every single day because I'm a PTSD survivor due to 9/11. I was one of the first responders to the Pentagon, and it's very, very hard on me. It causes a lot of problems. It causes a lot of night terrors and things like that. I deal with it by every single night that I have that problem. I wake up and I acknowledge it. I acknowledge that pain in my heart. I acknowledge that fear. And I take my medications and I go back to sleep. When I call my doctor or when I talk to my doctor, I tell my doctor what my dreams are about and I tell him what's been going on. And he helps me put those into words and helps me find an answer. Without that stuff, honestly, there's no simple way. You literally have to work your arse off to get past that stuff. It's a long road, and it's only able to be done one step at a time. Annika! What's up, beautiful? How are you tonight? Or today? Not tonight yet, because we're here for today. We are not doing tarot questions right now. We are doing Q&A right now, because everybody's been asking for the Q&A, so this is the Q&A. If you have questions about tarot, you have questions about being a druid, have at it. Tonight, or right now is the time to go for it. We will be back tonight at 7 p.m. to do regular tarot questions. So if you don't know us and you've never been here before, Follow us. We will be back later on tonight at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. CST to do that. So, yeah. Yeah. Somebody asked the question, what are questions you should not ask with a tarot deck? So, let me tell you this, and this is my honest truth, and these are the things that some people disagree with me, but this is what I feel. One, never, ever, ever ask a health question, okay? This means never ask a question of like, am I going to be cured from cancer, okay? The second you get that question answered, here's what happens, okay? Let's say, for instance, Sally calls you up and goes, hey, will I get cured from this cancer? You do a deck reading, and the deck reading says yes, she will be cured from the cancer. The next thing you know, Sally goes, well, I don't need this damn chemo anymore. Completely tells her doctors, I'm fine, I'm going to be healed, and my, the spirits are watching out for me, I'm going to be healed by them, and I'm good. Well, she quits the chemo. After she quits the chemo, if she came back and she asked the same question again, the cards would tell her, no, you're not going to be cured, you're going to die. Because the second you change from what you were doing, it completely destroys the entirety of what's coming up. So never, ever, ever take a question for health, because, yeah, it'll just end up badly. Oh, 100% Nova. And, experiences you have to feel because you have to feel your experiences, you have to feel your emotions, you have to actually state them out loud, you have to face them to grow past them, whether it be negative, positive, fear, whatever. You have to literally state them out loud, get past those emotions, and let yourself heal. And you're never going to do that unless you confront them. And you're never going to confront them unless you can state them out loud. So it's this huge rotation of you have to basically confront things, and that's why I say confront your past. You cannot expect to just heal. It doesn't happen. But yeah. So anyways, other questions you don't ask a tarot deck. Honestly, I really do believe that people should never ask a tarot deck like who their twin flame is or who their soulmate is. You should never really ask a deck who your soulmate is going to be, because it's never going to be able to actually give a name. I don't know why people think that a tarot deck can give a name. It never has names mentioned anywhere in the deck. So how in the world can it say it's going to be Matt, the guy from accounting? It's never going to answer that question. So since it's a question that can't be answered, it shouldn't be asked. Other things is like when it says, the question has to be more direct. It should be, am I soulmates with Matt? And then it can give you an answer. But if you sit there and you go, who's going to be my soulmate? It'll never be able to answer that. So yeah. Questions have to be directly, properly done. And whoever the reader is has to properly read them and do them right. That's my opinion. But yeah. So be. So yeah. There you go. Any other questions from anybody? I know I got a Stumper Turtle in here still, chilling out and having fun. Because he just loves listening to me BS. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Gotta have an energy drink. Woot. Okay. So, Queen of Sheba. Hello, how are you today? Good to see you. We are not doing readings right now. We will be back tonight doing readings at 7 p.m. So when you come back tonight at 7 p.m., more than welcome to. Subscribe to us now. We will be back tonight doing 7 p.m. And we have a system that basically works out. You just type exclamation join, you fill out that form, and we'll knock you out when that happens. Right now we are doing a Q&A about tarot, and we're doing a Q&A about druids as a whole. We want to do this so our fans and people that don't understand something can ask all the questions they need to know. Which, if you have questions, by all means, ask away. It's a lot of people out there believe that tarot is this, what's the word I'm getting? Oh, one of my favorite ones. We get a lot, and I do mean a lot of people that come in here, like Tarot Destroyer and a bunch of other people, that they sit there and they say, you're a prophet. You're doing prophecies. Okay? Tarot cards are not prophetic whatsoever. Tarot cards are never meant to be prophetic. They are not designed as a prophetic. They are designed as a warning or a possible future. They are not saying this is set in stone as prophecy does. That's the difference. Queen of Sheba, what are druids? Druids are a how do I say this? They are a subset of Wicca, or they're more likely than their own thing. But the druids are a old class of shamans, alchemists, things like that. These are the people back in the days of the medieval times that people would go to at the apothecaries and get the herbs to heal themselves. Some people would call them witches, some people would call them druids, some people call them warlocks, whatever. The fact of the matter is druids are more those that are in tune with nature. The people that kind of walk upon they can walk upon the trees, they can hear the nature, they can speak to the nature of the world, and they can feel the energy transfer from Mother Earth to themselves and trees. They're just really, really in tune people with the earth. We are very much so people that believe in there is higher powers above us. We believe there can be multiple classes of gods out there. It's fine. We don't care. What we care about is we believe that we're here to take care of Mother Earth, and we're here to kind of help keep her growing and keep her healthy. We've just kind of been bestowed that job up from our gods, the Green Man. So there you go. That's what a druid sort of is. Wiccans, do the same thing, a lot of people say, but not so much. Wiccans are very much so more into spells. And I don't know why, but they're very big into the spell casting. I gotta cast a spell to do this and this and this. And it really, really scares me when people are like, yeah, I'm a witch and I do all these spells. And it really, really, really terrifies me when you're doing a lot of spells. Because the fact of the matter is as a druid, we are very, very much so, we kind of throw up a shield and kind of defend ourselves from a lot of negative shit that comes our way. But the honest truth of it is we sit there and we will literally stand in a yard and just feel the wind blow over us and feel the energy from the earth kind of like transferring through our bodies and stuff. We're very much, crazy like that, cool like that. Are you doing free one card pulls? Matthew, we do 3 card pulls, and I will be doing those tonight at 7 p.m. CST. Okay? And they are free, 100%. Just come back and see us then. Right now, we're just doing questions and answers about tarot and questions and answers about druidism, things like that. You guys are more than welcome to ask anything that you guys have been wondering about magic, whatever. I'll do my best to answer what I can. So, yep. So, Muffin, we good? Did we do a good job? Did we tell everybody what they needed to know? All right. Muffin would like to let everybody know there is the Muffin, the Almighty Muffin Cult. She is available on TikTok. She is also available on our Discord. So you guys are all welcome, by all means, to praise her and love her. Just remember when you join the Discord, all you got to do is say, "Add me to the Muffin Cult." Also,
tag one of our mods.
Or tag one of the mods. Also, we will be back tonight at 7 CST. We'll be doing this again, but like tonight, what we'll be doing is we'll be doing just regular 3-card tarots. As always, my 10 cards are available at all times. They're $10 for a 10 card. I'm very, very prevalent about those. So can I get a card pull for me? You just want a single card pull? What's your question, Matthew? Here we go. What's your question, Matthew? Let's see what your question is. Because I have a funny feeling. I just want to see something. No, Muffin says no. Sorry, Muffin says no. Alright. So anyways, TikTok, I love you guys. Don't forget to do your dishes. Come back tonight at 7. We'll see you then. Until then, love you all. Have a good night. TikTok and YouTube, you guys are amazing. Semper, love you, man. Thank you for showing up today. I appreciate it. Nova, thank you again for showing up. I appreciate you guys immensely. We're going to go ahead and see who's out there tonight. I don't even know who's available to raid because I don't even know if anybody's out tonight. Let's see. Is there anybody raidable right now? No. All that's available right now is Swats, and we're not going to raid him because he's mean. Alright, so with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and let it go for the night. So, anyways, we will be back tonight at 7 p.m. CST. Come check us out if you want. Hang out with us, whatever. We love you all. Don't forget to do your dishes, and we'll see you later, alright? Until then, bye.